Hi, my name's Lucy Nyland and I'm a service user with GMW. I was sectioned in 2010 and resided in Moorside Unit for 2 months following psychosis. And my favourite topic is spirituality. I believe it's a common experience during psychosis, and spirituality does not have to be defined by religious affiliation, a certain faith or belief, and spiritual view can also be an atheist point of view. I believe there's a huge gap in training and acknowledgement of people's spiritual needs in the mental health system. I have noticed through volunteering at Moorside for the last 4 years that we have had the addition of a prayer room, and we have 2 clerics from different faiths who attend the unit on a regular basis. What dismays me is there's no current post, as I am aware, for a non-affiliated spiritual counsellor or advisor, and I believe this is a point that should be addressed, because when I'm defining psychosis as an experience, it's like taking a lot of drugs altogether, and I've taken a lot of drugs. Prior to being sectioned, I have experienced LSD, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences in my life. The second would be psychosis, and LSD was taken, in my experience, in a very natural setting and with a friend who guided me through the experience and wasn't on drugs herself. I never felt the need to take it again because I could not have beaten such a beautiful experience. Apart from when I got a chance to go on the walking group whilst in Moorside, with the remnants of the psychosis running through my veins, I felt at ease while we were walking in the countryside. I felt nurtured by nature, because the settings that we treat people for psychosis in are far too clinical, and it can exacerbate symptoms and create more paranoia. Because psychosis is a double-edged sword. You can be ecstatic, yet paranoid. It's beautiful, yet it's dark. It's ecstasy versus a very bad weed whitey. And if I was to define how it made me feel in the clinical setting, suffering psychosis, I would have to compare it to an experience of taking salvia, which when I tried it I was at home and I became part of the laminate flooring. In perception only, I do understand, but the experience of being those fractured splinters of wood coursing through my existence was surreal, painful, and intimidating. And having psychosis in a modern architectured building with all this hard concrete, tough glass, cold and clinical and sharp and pointy and stabbing. It's an experience that needs to be counteracted with exposure to nature so that people can start the journey of recovery. And that is why I believe the walking group is pivotal to people's recovery. Another experience that I had was almost a constant feeling of deja vu, and I understand now that this could be like a delay or lag in your perception of time, but it can be so unnerving because you're prophesying and then the experience that happens validates the psychosis, making it the right experience. You see, psychosis for me is a right experience. It's not wrong. It's a self-preservation experience. And in my case, delusions of grandeur were a saving grace. They gave value to my life, and my experience of grandiose beliefs led me to believe that I could teach the Pope a thing or two. I still got the letter ready to send. You see, for me it was a spiritual journey, and it gave me purpose. And my purpose was to save the earth and humankind. And so many other people I've spoken to have had the same motivation during psychosis. Before I took ill, I was studying astrophysics, and I was searching for the grand unified theory of everything. And I believe I perceived it whilst psychotic as, in my perspective, we're the embodiment of God, as is the universe. I learnt that there's no such thing as a pure vacuum, and with quantum mechanics and particles popping in and out of existence, there is no thing as space, no such thing that defines an end and a beginning. We are all part of this binding force. You see, having read Maslow's book on peak experiences and studied the hierarchy of needs, I believe that this is a peak experience that we have. There's a constant theme in this double-edged sword, and it's positive versus negative, and it's like yin and yang. It's like you need the darkness for light to exist, and there's no evil in the world, there's just balance. The way I perceive it is, if it's raining for a month, you're going to love that sunshine when it breaks through. What I have found in studying my dissertation on psychosis was that cultures instigate and facilitate psychotic experiences as a coming of age, and this is to help individuals feel at ease with being one with the universe. All of us having a valid place here, and all of us having a purpose to make a difference. And it doesn't have to be a huge gesture. Just smiling at someone in the street can make their day. For me, I've not gone through recovery. This has been my transformation. And I prefer the term transformation because there aren't things in my life prior to the experience of psychosis that I want to recover. It was hard. I've now transformed and learnt, and with the help of early intervention and my volunteering and Blue Sky, I've become a more well-rounded person. One of the topics that I think is really relevant when talking about mental health is that general practitioners diagnosing mental health is really, really bad. They are general practitioners, and if their decisions to provide antidepressants to someone who has an underlying mental health condition, it can exacerbate their problems, as was the case with me. If you have a lump, your general practitioner sends you to the hospital to see a specialist. I believe this should be the case with mental health problems. Thankfully, when I experienced mental health, I was in the catchment bracket for early intervention services, and thank goodness I was, because I have a son and he was fostered, and everybody rallied around to make sure that I got better for the sake of my son, and that he was well looked after. Yet I felt lonely, really, really lonely. And that's where early intervention proved their worth, because without them, I don't believe my self-worth would have increased the way it did during the period following psychosis, where I slumped and lost faith in myself. Early intervention work, in a way that I perceived they had no hierarchy within their team, and that everybody's views were respected and their concerns were talked through, so that they provided great continuity of care via this wonderful team of people who all looked after the service users. And volunteering with them has given me the opportunity to show how much I appreciated their help at the time. I wish more mental health services were run with the same ethos that early intervention does, because it's a life-saving service.